Hello, MGTOWs. Hello, man. Go your own way. Go your own way, man. Hope you're having a great day, and we're going to talk a little. It's a little late today. It was kind of a lazy day. I just kind of slept, and then I got watching a movie, so I couldn't pull myself away. And then took a few rides on the bike and did some healthy stuff. It's 60 to 64 degrees out there, and I couldn't miss that. So I'll do my podcast a little later in the day, which is now. Hello, MGTOWs. Hello, men. Go your own way. Go your own way. All your sins are forgiven. And we're going to talk a little bit about... hello, MGTOWs. Hello, men. Go your own way. There we go. Our sound is okay. So if there's anything wrong with my sound, let me know. I'll correct it. And we're going to talk about the topic today. The topic today is going to be harm reduction. Now, it's often said in MGTOWs there's levels of MGTOW, and there's not really levels of MGTOW. MGTOW's a lot like any other addiction service. Men have an addiction to one thing, and that's a natural addiction to the female, the drugs and the hormones and the things that are pumped out in the male brain that reaches his body, and the endorphins and oxytocins and stuff like that. They're very powerful, and they're 10 times more powerful than heroin, and men get addicted to these things. And you get addicted to female company in that manner. The more female company you have, the more of those chemicals that are released in your brain, and you feel good chemicals, and you feel good, and you don't experience life as reality. And there's only one MGTOW. I hear there's levels of MGTOW, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. Like every addiction, men come around MGTOW to taper that addiction down, end that addiction, make sure that addiction doesn't harmfully influence their life anymore. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about harm reduction versus abstinence. Harm reduction, PUA, MGTOW 1 and 2, very light MGTOWs, what I call MGTOW lights, versus abstinence, which is the MGTOW monk, which takes a very stern view of harm reduction in MGTOW. So the MGTOWs 1 and 2s are taking out on a risk reduction. We call it risk reduction in MGTOW, but that's more of a business term. It does have nothing to do with what really happens inside of the male brain. It has nothing to do with addiction. It has nothing to do with the addiction to the female. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about harm reduction. What is harm reduction today? Well, that's what I said. MGTOW 1, 2, and 3 have all noticed that if you involve yourself with a female today, there's a risk involved. There's harm that could be had. With risk, harm. Risk, harm. Harm is the thing you don't want to experience. That's them things where you lose financial stuff, you lose cars, you lose houses, you lose your respect in society amongst people that should respect you. And one thing they respect is these relationships. You get married, you present yourself as legitimate and legal and following the ways that things are supposed to be, but that all ends up in a very harmful way nowadays. 86% of marriages end. You're going to lose half your stuff. the stuff that you work for hard for. You're going to have health problems from that, separation and separation anxiety, and the stress from losing everything that you had causes heart problems. It causes physical problems. It causes mental and emotional problems. And you have an addiction that you're addicted to. That's oxytocin, that ever flowing drip of oxytocin that you get when you're with a female, and you get that bacteria goes into your body. It passes through the blood-brain barrier. It turns on your neurons. Oxytocin starts dripping out, and it's 10 times more powerful than heroin. And you have to come off of that. Some people call that sexual. Some people call that separation anxiety. It's a social anxiety. It's just like heroin, but it's 10 times harder to come off. A lot of men kill themselves after that. A lot of men become angry, become withdrawn from society. And these things are all the harmful effects of that drug. That drug, we all know, love is the drug. So we do several things. Most of us, a lot of us MGTOWs, we go abstinent. And I would suggest, if you're a new MGTOW, that you go abstinent for a while so you can get your bearings, just so you can get your bearings. You can get yourself bacteria free from that. You can start thinking right. Your IQ will rise after about 60 days. Your IQ will start coming back to normal. You will start acting normal. And there's the simps too. Simping is a disease. It's part of it. It's an overage of that need. And this is where we get into harm reduction. We have abstinence and we have harm reduction. The level 1 MGTOW has realized that there's things to be lost in this thing: marriage and dating and recreational use of females, sexual activity. You can lose a lot. There's HIVs, there's hepatitis, there's several kinds of diseases out there that you can catch. Herpes, yes, you can get space herpes from that too. I'm just joking. There's no such thing as space herpes. But no, but they look at this thing as risk reduction. If they don't take a lot of the risks, they see it, and that's harm reduction. They're both the same things. Risk reduction is a corporate-based risk management thing where you put mathematical sums in and you think that way. Harm reduction is when you think more about the human aspect of what is happening. You can reduce these things, and you can try to reduce the harm, but a lot of that's still going to come because you're involving yourself in the very thing, like an addict would do. You're involving yourself in the very thing that the harm is causing the harm. Hello, everybody. Hello, Dolph and MGTOW Smurf and RP and whoever's in. So harm reduction is important at the beginning, and I would say total abstinence is important at the beginning of becoming a MGTOW, just so you can see the difference. The first time I went abstinent from that thing, I went for about a year before I resumed bad behaviors, and I remember when I did resume bad behaviors, I remembered after I did that is how good my life was while I was abstinent, how I seen things, how my brain worked better, how I discovered new things. I was spending a lot of time with myself and learning how to do new things, and then connecting with things that I love to do, bicycling, distance bicycling. I learned a lot about myself through these things, and it was a good times. And then I started doing that again, and then I had a spectrum point. I had a point of between two things. What was better, I said to myself, when I was free or when I was doing those simping things. Simping's a disease, and it goes along with the addiction you have. They want to outlaw the word simp, but it's a very good word. My lighting isn't quite great today. I don't know what's wrong with my lighting today. It's kind of darkish in here today. But that's no matter here or there. You can hear me. And after I went through that process, I realized there was a difference in my life, in my total life. I had more money. I had more free time. I had more time to read. I had more time to become what I wanted to do. I had more time to do classes. I had more time to hang around with friends. I had more time to discover the world around me as the world really exists within a. I had the time to observe it, and in a clear state of mind. First thing you have to do when you come into MGTOW is you clear up your mind from that simping that you've been doing. And like I said, all your simp sins are forgiven. I don't hold anybody responsible for that. That's a natural part of being a male, but it's also a harmful part of being a male. When you get addicted to that, when you have to have it, when you can't function without it, when that's what your life is all about. That would be the PUAs still trying to experience that. Them injections of they inject themselves with the bacteria that causes the turn on of those things, and there's those hormones, and they get addicted to those hormones. Coming down off of it's very sad. It's sad to watch a man come down off of that one. It's sad to watch the estrogens built in his body. It's sad to watch a man lose his testosterone, lose his edge, lose his masculinity, lose everything he owned, lose everything he worked for, and become a lesser man. And that's what happens when you do those things. I could guarantee it. So in MGTOW, we do harm reduction at the 1, 2, and 3 level. We're looking to walk through that minefield without hitting one of those mines, without it going off in your face, without bad, horrible results to your decision-making process there. So we look at those things, and like everything, harm reduction will keep you from experiencing some of the risk or some of the bad things that will come, but it won't do the whole thing. The only way to do it is MGTOW monk, and that's what MGTOW is about. There's no level steps here. There's either you do abstinence on one end, or you do harm reduction, and you're still putting yourself at risk if you're doing harm reduction. If we're going to do an analogy to drug use, we're going to be like, use clean needles, use condoms, try to find the best product, moderate your product use. That's all you're doing, is you're using clean needles, or you're looking for clean needles. But clean needles in that haystack of female company is hard to find nowadays. There's a lot of sexually libertine women out there that basically had hundreds and hundreds of partners before you. Now you're going to carry the bacteria, and she carries the bacteria of every single one of those partners, and she carries it and she gives it to you. It turns on those endorphins and those oxytocins. It turns on that love thing. It turns on all that thing, and you get your fix. But is that good for you? Every time you go through one of those, your heart has a little damage done to it. The real heart, not the fake heart, not that one that Cupid shoots. There's no such thing as that thing. Everything goes back to the real stresses of life. That's a very stressful thing you're putting yourself through. Bacteria from that will collect on your heart. There's no second heart in your body. When you start feeling that feeling there, that's bacteria stuck on your heart. It's not love. It's bacteria. It's a combination of bacteria that collects on your heart and the oxytocins that are pumping through your blood. And if you don't believe that, just do a little research and go watch some Matthew McConaughey. He'll tell you all about it. and that's it. That's what it is. And you're addicted, and you become addicted. The higher addicted people, the people that are addicted, become the simps. They can't live without that. They have to do those things all the time. That's what we're talking about in MGTOW. We're talking about reducing that. Abstinence is a very good policy. Harm reduction is the beginning. You're you're like a heroin addict when you're doing that. You're trying to negotiate how to get the heroin, how to spend time with your love heroin, and you might get, contaminated. You can get your blood infected, and that's what you're going to do when you're spending time with women. You're getting your blood infected, and they are giving you one of the biggest hypocrisies that's in this lifetime, in this world, I see is they say you take a girl out and you get her lubricated, you get her you have a few drinks, you go home, you do those things, you end up having sex, and she says you raped her because she was drinking. But think about what she's doing to you. She's put bacterias into your body that are 10 times more powerful than heroin, and it's turned on all that stuff, and that's all you can think about. She turned that on with her mere presence. And is that also rape? Would that be biological human nature rape? And that's what I ask, because that's a hypocrisy there. You're asking men to do something that they're doing to you. If they would just stay their distance away from you, if they would just clean up. And that's why it's so important for women to be clean, to be without those bacterias, because they don't affect males in such a awful way. We have several different kinds of there's several approaches to harm reduction. You can as a MGTOW, you can just try to manage that thing, and you can try to manage the risks. You can try to put yourself hide your bank accounts. Make sure you don't do those things. Make sure you're not simping. Make sure you're not white knighting. Make sure you're not doing all those things. Being able to spot the MGTOW, having the MGTOW and be able to spot someone coming into your life and trying to enslave you to them things. And we'll say that it's an enslavement to those things. Because she has one thing in her mind too. She wants to have a baby. She wants you to take care of that baby. She wants child support. She wants you to provide her with a house. She wants you to provide her with a comfortable living. If you're a working male and you got all that stuff, she has needs, and she has wants and desires. And all those wants and desires, she has a magical chemical in her body that gets you hooked to that, and you will give that up freely. But when you stop wanting to give that, forced fatherhood is what we have nowadays. We have forced fatherhood, and what we should have is voluntary fatherhood, or we reject fatherhood. Financial abortion is rejecting fatherhood. I reject fatherhood. I reject the idea of it. It's just you get a payor, and you're the payee, and I become the ATM and a slave, and you get what you want. Isn't a very good deal. So we protect ourselves against those things. But most men still, they're addicted to the very thing that's going to cause them to get in those situations. Sex and hanging around with girls is where babies come from. If no one ever told you that, I'll put it out there bluntly and explicitly. Sex is where babies come from. If you didn't know that, you're an idiot, and maybe you're not a part of MGTOW. So we're talking about 1 and 2 MGTOWs, and then we get up to 3 where they start noticing if that even though you do everything to reduce the harm, you're still on a drug, and it's still influencing the way you're thinking, and it's still influencing your financial position in life. It's still influencing your life in general, where you don't feel as free as you should. And that's what this thing is about. MGTOW is about freedom. It's about experiencing what I experienced back in my 40s, when I went abstinent for that first year and a half, 2 years. And I noticed right away, after about a month, I was sitting out on the porch right here drinking a cup of coffee, and the whole world looked different, and I felt better. And I felt more secure with myself. I felt at ease in this world. There was no one coming around. There was no stupid phone calls asking me where I was or what I was doing. I didn't have nothing financially hooking into my wallet and pulling tens and twenties out of it. Uh, I was in a good place. And I remember looking out at the tree and thinking, well, I'm going to go for a bike ride and I'm going to go collect some rocks and I'm going to go down to the park and I'm going to take my little microscope thing and I'm going to put it on I got a little thing I put on my camera so I can see the grain inside the rocks and stuff. And I'm going to go down there and I'm going to spend a day walking around just by myself in the middle of nowhere in a stream and just looking around. And I remember that great feeling that I had, fresh air, and my feet were a little wet from the stream, and I had my bike, and we were just kind of mountain biking it around, and I was doing my thing, all the things I loved in this world, and that's what gets taken away from you if you decide to engage with a female. If you decide to do that, you're going to lose a lot of things that you love in this world, and you're going to have to give them up because maybe she don't want those things. Maybe she don't like those things. Can't imagine a girl walking around with me in the middle of a creek collecting rocks and thinking that's a great date. uh, Around the bugs and the rats and the weasels and the beavers and the otters and all those things that are out there, and the dogs and the coyotes and snakes and no, women don't want to go outside. Lust, yes, Jigsaw, lust. We're talking about lust when we talk about the simps, power, money, sex, and yeah, it's all those intangible things. It's So you can get addicted to a lot of things. You can, like JK brings up, you can get addicted to sex, you can get addicted to power, you get money, or you can get addicted to drugs. And harm reduction is kind of spattered between that. Abstinence from that thing is the cure to addiction, and that's the way most people look at it. I was a DNA counselor for many years, so I know the first thing I say is let's try to get you abstinent from that, and then we'll talk about harm reduction. And at first, when an addict comes in, there seems to be no possible way to get he or she off of that. But you learn little tricks of the trade, and you start a system of harm reduction so they can start feeling like they're worthwhile in this world. So that's what MGTOW is all about. That's the number 1, 2. There's not really, you don't stick at a 1. If you're a MGTOW 1, you don't stick at a 1. You're just starting to notice that you need to protect yourself a little more. Risk reduction. You start noticing that you're worth it. That there's something in this world that you may want besides that, and you start working on those things. I think a level 2 and a 3 MGTOW have finally decided what they want and what they want to be in this life and who they want to be, and that can only be accomplished without a ball and a chain. It can only be accomplished by yourself. And then you start learning yourself as number 3. You start learning who you are, like I did, what you love. You take those deep I think the number 4 for MGTOW 4 is you take that deep introspection of yourself, and and that's a hard thing to do, taking a deep introspection of your maladies and your simping and your desires and your addictions and the things that are wrong with you socially, and you look at that and you go, well, this is what I am, and I'm gonna rid myself of all these things that hurt me, like simping, like white knighting, and begging for it, and those things, and then we become monks, they say, and we become recluse. So if you take 2 and 3, you found the things that you love, you found a way to get in touch with yourself. Most people will find that you drift away. You rarely see me around. I'm off doing something. I'm off I'm off with myself, and I'm very comfortable with myself. You get a comfort with yourself, and then you can live within the skin, and you know what you love. I jump on my bike, I grab my tools. I That's not all I do. There's a variety of things I like to do in the park. That I like to watch the falcons and the hawks and chart where they're at. I like to go look at the herbs and the foliage and that stuff. And I like to just walk and enjoy the sun and talk to the people that are around, socialize. The park's a very good place to socialize. And I can do that. Most people will never even notice me in the neighborhood. If I go to the store, I'll pedal up on my bike, say hello, be nice, and I learn myself. I learn how to be nice and calm in the universe I live in, and that's about being a monk. It's about that monk thing. It's about that. I don't need all those addictions. I've worked through harm reduction to abstinence. Uh, and a monk's abstinence, like I say, it's a very mental thing. It's We don't talk about it. We don't do those things. You can go talk to your buddies at the cocktail bar or at the stripper club about those things, and laugh and joke and act like college frat boys. But a mature monk, it just puts them all away. It's the what I call group X. You become a part of Group X right up there in that corner. That's why I put that up there. Group X is the default setting of a male is asexuality. When you're working on your car, you're not thinking about that. When you're 99% of your life, you shouldn't be thinking about that. When you're mowing your grass or going to work or you're going shopping or you're doing your laundry or you're cooking your dinner, you're not thinking about those things. And if you are thinking about them, it's ruining your life. It's ruining your life. And that's what MGTOW's about. And you can come through that steps 1 and 2, but there's a maturation project in this. There's maturation where you become a little more mature, more MGTOW mature. And after a few years, you'll probably have straightened up a lot of financial problems, a lot of social problems, a lot of deep issues within you. You do that introspection as a MGTOW, and you tend to hit on those deep issues that are causing you emotional distress. You get rid of those. You stop drinking. You don't need to do drugs or drink or run around with the girls or do any of those things, because you've taken care of them deep down in your soul. And that's what the deep introspection part is about. And some of the 12-step the 12-step addiction services, they do the same thing. They'll say it's a character problem. You have to look at your character problems. They do it in a half behind a half unwittingly way. You have to look at your character defects and look at who you are and approach those things with caution and care. As a MGTOW, we approach these things with caution and care. There's a lot of damage by the time some men get, and there's trauma, there's stab wounds. And you start healing and you start feeling better about life. That's what becoming a MGTOW monk is about. It's about feeling good. It's about being like a monk, where you can sit at the bottom of a tree and levitate and just be happy with the surroundings around you for months and months and months, and no one bothers you. I know it's a metaphysical thing. It's not an actual becoming a monk. It's not, you don't have to actually wear a robe, walk around in the woods and wander around and do good things for everybody. Although doing good things may help you. I always say being altruistic is one of the fine characteristics of a male. You when you're out, you have time and money, and you have you can do things. You can be altruistic. You can help other people, and you can. I just had something wonderful. I was sitting in. And people do this. Some people do this. Some people don't. I like to do this, and I had it happen to me. I was at a grocery store, and there was this lady in front of me, and I said hi, and I was being polite and kind and personable like I am. And she got done paying her bill, and she says, "Put all his on mine too." And then she paid for my bill just out of kindness. And I thought, well, you didn't need to do that. And I thanked her, and I was like, I didn't want to tell her no, but there's people out there like that, and that's how they get their happiness in life. And I've had this, I've seen this, and I've done the same thing where I just, scan his too, or hers, or whatever, whoever's in back of me, just scan theirs too and put it on my bill. Uh, that's part of being a monk. It's part of just being a better person. It's noticing when, just trying to notice the world you live in reality, and, observe it, and become a fuller part of that thing. That's what becoming a monk MGTOW is. If you're stuck in PUA land, and if you're stuck with PUA is an absurd thing, because it's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. All those failures come back, rinse and repeat, and sooner or later, one of those things are going to become harmful. The risk, every time you do that, the risk grows, and you're going to lose something, and then you get a negative feeling on your soul about that. You can pretend like it. You can try to get closure with those things, and some people get, like I said, get closure in really harmful ways to themselves. They joke it off. They pretend it's not real, and then they have to deal with that later in their lives. MGTOW's not a joke. Life's not a joke. You should take these things seriously. And if you're going to do MGTOW, do it the right way, and be a good person, and try to strive for being the best MGTOW you can. Otherwise, it's a useless program. And it is a useless program to most males out there. Most males are going to be simps and white knights, and they're going to be addicted to that, and they're going to be hooked, and they're going to go down and get married, and then they're going to get a divorce, and they're going to get married again. They're going to get a divorce again. They're going to try a third time, telling everybody that this was going to be the one, because I just have to stop making those mistakes. That's no way to live. Losing everything over and over again, the rinse and repeat cycle of losing everything. It's sad when I look at the PUAs, and it's sad that they have to do that. It's sad that they're so neurotic in their lives that they have to continuously fail at something before they realize that they really didn't even need to do that. They're putting that drug just for the chemical high that they're getting. But I just wanted to explain that today. There's better ways to look at the progression of MGTOWs. There's no such thing as MGTOWs 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a fallacy of being too exact. And when we come into MGTOW, we have these addictions, and we all had them. Those addictions from the incels to the monk MGTOWs, to the alphas, to the betas. We all have the same problem. We're all men, and we're all being harmed by society today. They look at us like slaves, like we have to pick up one of those dependents, and we have to take care of it. And that becomes also harmful to your life. And as you grow in MGTOW, you have MGTOW 1s and 2s, which are seeing harm reduction or risk reduction a little bit, and they can try to navigate that stream. Try to make it through that minefield. Try not to eat some poison mushrooms while you're out there. But if you're going to do that, sooner or later, I always say, if anybody that rides a bike is eventually going to fall. Anybody that walks is eventually going to fall, and anybody that plays with the women are eventually going to fall. You're gonna have to experience that harm reduction. Then you're going to have to practice coping skills. You're going to have to how to get closure on those things. And wouldn't you just rather do it the right way? Wouldn't you just rather grow through it and maturate into things? You're a grown adult, and um, doing it the right way should be important to you. But more than 80-90% of our society, I can't say that much anymore. I've been looking at the statistics. It's probably more like 60% of our society is addicted to that thing. They're addicted to sex. They're addicted to love. They're addicted to trying it again. They're addicted to the chemical feelings that it gives you. They make it into something it's not about. You see it in movies like Love Heals All, and I was just watching was Bumblebee, the movie Bumblebee, and then she at the end he's laying there, and then she's like she loves him back to life. No, them things don't happen in real life. In real life, it turns to hate, and she stabs you, and that's about it. And that's it. You will have to learn coping skills, stress, how to deal with stress, how to deal with what's being taken to you by an unjust government. You'll have to learn. You'll have to take care of her and her children, and that will become your responsibility because you agreed to be the payee. You agreed to be the father. You agreed to be the responsible party. Because one thing they won't say is she's never going to be held as the responsible party. And that's sad because it inhibits their growth. We always figured that feminism was going to grow little girls that will turn out to be women that have a real desire to be responsible for their body, for their children. They have children, you don't. Men, you don't have children. You're not a father. It's their responsibility. It's their body. It's their choice. They're accountable 100% for everything that happens for that. But the government holds you accountable because, well, the children. And we're talking about adult children that never grow up. And that's just the way it is. So becoming a MGTOW could be important to you. And that's all I wanted to talk about. I wanted to do my Sunday sermon, which I did. And stay away from it. Be safe. Find the things that you love. Find the things that you are. Find the things that make you human. Find your autonomy. Find what you love on this planet and what you like to do, who you are. If you die without finding those things, I think that's hell. That's your private hell. You'll spend eternity never knowing what you were on this planet when you did have a place, a chance, a purpose. And that's what MGTOW's about. This Catholic marriage thing, or it's not even, it's the religious marriage thing robs you of your soul. It robs you of everything you could have been. It robs you of money. It robs you of character, and it robs you of your very soul. And that's what MGTOWs see. And that's what MGTOWs try to tell everybody about. But a lot of people want to be slaves. Nietzsche said it. Kant said it. Even Camus said it. There's a lot of people out there that want to be slaves to that it's just easier to be Uncle Tom's. I was going to talk a little bit today about the Willie Lynch rules of slavery. And there's a lot of people out there that want to be slaves. They want to be that thing. They want to try that. One thing people, what I see a lot is a lot of the diversity and social justice things being put out. Now, when I look at those things, if you do any studies on diversity and social justice, you'll find that they often have a negative effect on whoever they touch. People react to them opposite ways. These are Willie Lynch rules: separate and divide. If the greatest, you can look at this. The greatest victory that of lately, and the greatest battle out there right now is Amazon versus the unions. You know what the first thing Amazon did when they started getting into when people started when the workers started uniting and becoming and that means white and black and female and male, and they brought in diversity and social justice policies, and then what these tend to do is they tend to separate the workers. White workers start looking negatively at black workers start looking negatively at white workers, gender neutral people start looking negatively at straight people look negatively at, and they have the reverse effect, because what they're telling you with the diversity and the social justice is there are differences and you should notice them. And that's what people get from those things. That's all they take away. Well, what you're looking at is inclusivity. That doesn't cause inclusivity. It causes diversity. Diverse. It's in the very name. It's Willie Lynch rules. It's get the genders to fight. Get within the slaves. Get the males to fight with the females, and get the big ones to fight with the small ones. Get the lighter skinned ones to fight with the darker skinned ones. That's what Willie Lynch rules. And one thing's for sure, and one thing's for certain: Willie Lynch is still the corporate owner today, and he wants all the people in his corporation to not be together and not unionize. He wants them all to separate so he can pay them less, so he can treat them wrong, so he can continue doing what he wants to do. Willie Lynch is still running the show. So this MGTOW thing works down into into a lot of facets in life. You don't have to be that guy. You don't have to be that guy that is always concerned about those things. What you lose when someone gives you a diversity program is you lose your autonomy, and the autonomy to make decisions about people on your own. This is a bad person. This is a good person. I make those decisions on my own. I make those decisions based on knowledge and based on their character. But diversity separates people and those social programs that are pushed on you. And MGTOW has to watch out very carefully, because that's how they're going to attack us. They're going to try to separate and divide you. They were very successful at the beginning, but I think a lot of MGTOWs are coming around and saying, no, the one common that we all share in MGTOW is we're all men. And that's a common, that's unbreakable. We will all have to fight together. We will all have to go to work together because we are men. That load falls directly on your back because you are a man. Sorry, I was getting a little harsh. I don't know how long I've been talking here. I'll check. 43 minutes. Yeah, okay. So there were the two things I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about MGTOW and where have you grown to? Have you grown into your monk yet? Are you still playing around? You're still trying to do harm reduction, or have you reached a level of mental abstinence from those things? Are you one that's gonna fall for the Willie Lynch policies of separate and divide? Are you going to grow up finally and become a fully functional MGTOW and grab a piece of your autonomy in this world? MGTOW gives you all of these benefits, but it's up to each and every person to take them. It's up to each and every person to develop his life. And we see a lot of autonomy that grows from MGTOW. This is what I like. This is what I'll believe in. This is what I'll do. I will clean myself from all those aspects of the world that are negative, and I'll start acting in a positive manner. I'll start looking for the risk. I'll start I'll start thinking about myself for the first time in this life, and then I'll mature and I'll grow with that, and that's all MGTOW's asking. But it's going to take a little. It's going to take a little on your part too, and it's going to take a lot of effort on your part. It doesn't come free, and it doesn't come easy. Uh, but MGTOW will come if if you persevere in it. And I think we have a lot of men around here that persevere in it, and they're always looking for the next answer. They're always looking for correct answers. Uh, you could be that guy, but you can't do it if you're ever stuck in MGTOW light number one, still taking those risks, because you're eventually going to have to deal with that harm that comes from that, and or you can have a baby, get married, and then you'll die a slave. Uh, in this society, that's what they make us, into slaves. Uh, with that, I'm going to sign on off. Have a happy day. Go your own way, MGTOW. Go your own way. All your Simpsons are forgiven. You're free. And like always, thanks a lot for coming around. Thanks a lot for listening to my excessive chatter. I'm going to get back out. I think I want to take one more ride today and get a little more of that sun. You can see I got a little sun today, and go look around the world I live in, and just be a happy person. And that's it. You guys take care. And thanks a lot for coming around. And most of all, thanks a lot for being MGTOW. MGTOW.